Are you serious?
I've got a fire in my eyes. I'm burning brighter than the sunlight. You orchestrated my escape. Now I'm awake. I feel alive for the first time. You ignite the fire.
Hello, my friends. Welcome to one more edition of the Brother Marcos radio show. We're broadcasting directly from São Paulo, Brazil, especially to you that is listening to us with the help of the Capal Radio Network and Radio Redemption and Power Network. We are talking to the whole world, actually. We're talking to the United Kingdom. We have people in Slovenia, in South Africa, and of course, most of our listeners are in the United States. And I want to congratulate you because you dodged the bullet. You dodged the bullet. And I'm congratulating you, not as much because of the victory of Donald Trump, but because you have beaten the worst, most corrupt threat the United States ever faced, which would be a victory of Hillary Clinton. I'm very glad that, you have been given one more chance. I don't know what Trump will do. I guess nobody knows. But I'll tell you, the alternative was 100 times worse. And actually, I really believe that God, during this last couple of weeks, gave us an opportunity when He really lifted up the veil. He opened the curtains just a little, so we could check what is behind the curtains, my friends. We have been talking about occultism and the way that the elites have this satanic religion of Gnosticism. Okay, they really believe in that they are little gods, that they are above good and evil. We have talked a lot about the principles of good and the principles of evil, and how they think that they are above any kind of moral regards, like we, mere mortals. Okay? And if you are follower of this show, you know that they believe they are little gods, and that they have direct contact with Lucifer himself and with his messengers. And somehow, they receive through channelers and mediums a kind of download of wisdom and knowledge. And because of that, they're superior, and they can basically do whatever they want. Of course, if you listen to a person telling you this kind of thing, you're going to think that that person is crazy. He's out of his mind. It's a radio show for weirdos. But then, my friends, here comes WikiLeaks, and we have this peek inside the world that they live in. We have the Podesta emails. John Podesta is this very, very important lobbyist and a guy that has been around the Clintons for more than 20 years. He was, I believe he was the chief of staff of Bill Clinton for a time, and he's been always there supporting them and making the contacts and all the shady deals for them. And now he was the campaign manager for Hillary Clinton. And WikiLeaks published his emails. And we could find things there, my friends. That's all about what we have been talking all along. You know, those people, they're involved with Satanism and pedophilia. I mean, do you think it's just a coincidence that Hillary Clinton, she invited for her last rallies 3 Satanists? One of them is Beyonce. Beyonce is the woman who says that she channels a demonic spirit called Sasha Fierce. That this spirit takes possession of her when she's dancing and performing. And her husband, Jay-Z, a strange man. I've never heard a song from that man. I don't know what he does. But anyway, he seems to be very famous. And he's all the time, he is saying that he's an Illuminati. So he has all kinds of Illuminati symbols. And he says that he's a Satanist. He's a personal friend of a woman that is crucial in all this revelation, Marina Abramovich. They even did a video together. And then we have Lady Gaga. Lady Gaga, I mean, she said in an interview that she made a deal with the devil. She did say. I mean, it's no secret. And that's the woman who made a song for Judas, celebrating the traitor Judas above Jesus Christ, saying that Judas is basically better than Jesus. And of course, she is a Satanist too, and she is a personal friend with Marina Abramovich. Yes, they spend holidays together. There are pictures of them together doing meditation. There are pictures of Lady Gaga and the Satanist Abramovich in parties. They call it art. They say that it's an artistic event because, what would they say? Otherwise, would they say, well, this is a satanic event? I mean, I think that in the next couple of years, they will probably just say it's a satanic event. Just come and see. But anyway, they had this motto, this naked person, naked lady inside a bathtub and full of some kind of liquid. Maybe it is, some kind of, who knows, wine or something like that, just mimicking blood. Just like this person had committed suicide inside a bathtub. And then they were drinking that liquid, that blood. So, and Lady Gaga thinks it's so much fun to do that. She really thinks it's so funny that she brings children there. Yes, there's a picture of Lady Gaga with this small kid, a small child, a girl. She's about, I would say she's 6 or 7. So she was there, just as a witness to all that depravity, that was set up by the Satanist Abramovich. Yes. And these are the 3 people that Hillary Clinton invited for her last 2 rallies this weekend. So, my friends, what I want here in this show is that you move behind the curtain. Look what's happening there, okay? Because I'll tell you, all this political show that we are seeing is just a farce. It's just a scam, okay? It's a sham. And we see here, WikiLeaks, they got all the emails from this John Podesta guy, And here we see one of the emails. Marina Abramovich was saying, "Dear Tony," Tony is John's brother, Tony Podesta, "I am so looking forward to the spirit cooking dinner at my place. Do you think you'll be able to let me know if your brother is joining? All my love, Marina." So you see, Tony's going. And she really wants John to come too. Okay? But who is this woman? She's so powerful that, she is buddies with this guy who is probably used to be now that Trump has won. He used to be the most powerful man in Washington, some people say. And this woman, there's another email here, okay? Purpose of grant funds will be used to support the production, blah, 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 the life and death of Marina Abramovich. So you see, my friends, the Clinton Foundation, it's the foundation that was open to help the children in Haiti. They gave tens of thousands of dollars to Marina Abramovich and her spirit cooking thing. So basically, people, they were thinking, well, we're going to help the children in Haiti. But they were helping a Satanist do her thing. Of course, there's another email that said, money from the Clinton Foundation was used to pay the wedding of Hillary's daughter. $3 million wedding. Only just the wedding gown cost $500,000. That's what people say. Anyway, it was $3 million in total. So that's the level of depravity that we're dealing here. Because when those people, they worship Lucifer, they are told that they are above morals. Okay, it's just like, Nietzsche, the philosopher, depraved, perverted philosopher used to say, we are beyond good and evil. God is dead. That's what they think. So it really doesn't matter because they are gods. That's the kind of people we are dealing here. Okay? That's why the main character behind Hillary Clinton's campaign is Lynn the Rothschild. She's the wife, I think, of Evelyn Rothschild. But people say that he's the leader of the Illuminati, or at least the leader of the Rothschild family. And David Rothschild was for Hillary. I mean, they were really invested in that woman. But you see, my friends, they are not all powerful. I think they didn't expect what is really happening. And the second part of the show, we're going to talk about the possibilities and about what the future looks like. And but I'll tell you, it's important that we understand how those people think. So, this woman, she cuts a pentagram on her belly in front of everybody. And so basically, my friends, this is a ritual, okay? It's not because you try to hide it behind the name of art that it is not a ritual. It is a ritual. There's a picture of her here. She's completely naked in front of everybody. and she's carving a pentagram, an inverted pentagram, a satanic pentagram in her belly. So that's the kind of thing that she does. She writes magical spells, demonic spells in blood on the wall. That's what she does. Okay, that's what the money that was given by Hillary, by the Clinton Foundation goes to. Okay, so basically she is a follower of Aleister Crowley's kind of Satanism. Okay, and we also see here, my friends, lots of trips, especially from Bill Clinton to the island, the pedophile island, what is called the Lolita Express. It's an island in the Caribbean that was owned by this guy, this billionaire called Jeffrey Epstein. He was convicted of pedophilia, and he would bring several people from the elite, billionaires, politicians, okay, to parties there. And they had, minors. They have girls, young girls, young boys, depending on your taste. And Bill Clinton traveled at least 26 times to that island, sometimes without his bodyguards, as we can see in the pilot logs in the plane. Okay? That's what happens. That's what we are dealing with. And there are other emails here. Podesta, John Podesta, being invited to a party with entertainment. And what's the entertainment? It's a farm in Lovettsville. Okay? And that's what the email says here. We plan to hit the pool, so a swim is a possibility. Bonnie will be Uber service to transport Ruby, Emerson, and Maeve. 3 children, 11, 9, and 7. So you will have some further entertainment. And they will be in that pool for sure. So we have 3 little kids that are delivered as entertainment in a pool. Okay? And there are other emails, and they say, come to our party. We're going to have lots of pizza, cheese, and hot dogs. And they say that, just listen to this. They say, get ready for Chicago Hot Dog Friday. And this guy says, this guy's from Stratford. Stratford is, they say they are the providers of political and geopolitical insight, but actually they're from the CIA. And they say here, I think Obama spent $60,000 from taxpayers' money flying in pizza and hot dogs from Chicago for a private party at the White House not long ago. Assuming we are using the same channels, and then there is the answer. To celebrate all you hot dogs out there, you can participate as well. And pizzas, my friends, are small girls, okay? Hot dogs are small boys. Because you don't fly in $65,000 of pizzas and hot dogs from Chicago for a party. But you pay $65 in order to have small children for your Satanist party. That's the way they are. John Podesta also, he loves to collect art. In his New York office, he has an oil painting in which two men are preparing to eat another human. It's here. Okay? Spirit cooking. He also has some sculptures that they are depicting the poses that Jeffrey Dahmer, you know, the serial killer, the cannibal, he put his victims in that pose so he could rape them. And they basically copied that pose in a sculpture so they can celebrate cannibalism. Okay? And people said, well, you have this cannibal scene in an oil painting on the wall. What do you say about that? And he said, it's better to be the man holding the fork than the man being eaten. I mean, the guy is a complete Satanist. Okay? And people now, thanks to the internet, they're checking all the codes in the emails, and really seems that hot dog is a boy, pizza is a girl, cheese is a little girl, pasta is a little boy, ice cream is a male prostitute, the walnut is a person of color. So if they say, oh, we're going to have pasta with walnut sauce, it means that it's a little black boy. Okay? That's the way it is. John Podesta. And nobody talks about it in the big media. If there was one loser in this whole election process, it was the media. Because everybody knows that they're liars, that they're corrupt. I mean, in the same Podesta emails, we see that CNN and the Huffington Post, they asked for orientation, guidance about what they should publish. They would ask Podesta, should we publish this or that, boss? So how can you trust the media anymore? A bunch of liars, corrupt liars. Okay? Pedophiles. Satanists. You know, they're all fans of this woman. She's probably a high-ranking witch in Satanism, Marina Abramovich. She's 69. She doesn't look 69 at all. At all, I'll tell you. She looks, 50 maybe? She's probably eating little babies in order to stay this young. And, she was there. She was in the MoMA in 2010. She had this whole thing there, exhibition, at the Museum of Modern Art in New York. Okay? So she had her performances there. Completely satanic thing. But now she had this book. And she recalls, it's a memoir. And she tells us that she recalls when she was a child, feeling she was in the company of ghosts, spiritual presences, luminous beings, shapeless and silent, but for her, not at all frightening. Okay, and she was abused when she was a child. So you see demonic possession happening here, even when she was a child. And she transferred that to her whole life, and she became involved with people in Satanism. Because I'll tell you, she's not just this isolated case. Because in another email, we see that Podesta was invited for this big happening, artistic happening, in the Palazzo Fortuny in Venice. So you see here, black nobility, the aristocrats in Europe. I mean, they're all into Satanism. So she was there. This was in 2011. And she was not alone. I'll tell you, there's at least here 50 or maybe 60 different artists. She's the first one. She's the leader. But, at least 50 or 60 artists here. A long list. But see here the invitation. Okay? The name of the exhibition is Edge of Becoming. Becoming what? Edge of Becoming is an exhibition that explores the interconnectedness between place, history, creativity, and universal wisdom. It means a passage through an open doorway. So you see here the concept of portals to the demonic spiritual world, a gateway to what lies beyond. Well, I know what lies beyond. Big, ugly devils. The threshold of thought, the expansion of perception. So it's all about opening your third eye and seeing what is beyond the veil. The energy within the void, the power of beginnings, it forges new passages of perspective and possibility through the transformative experience of art with the will of enhancing revelation and knowledge. So you see, my friends, this is no small thing. This is basically satanic rituals that have been decorated in order to look sophisticated, because those people, they're very rich, they're aristocrats, they're billionaires. So they really like, they don't like just a witchcraft ritual in the woods. They really like the Palazzo Fortuny in Venice. Okay, because they are sophisticated. They are sophisticated, my friends. That's the kind of people we have here. And they're not shy. They're not shy. We see here, Lady Gaga, a billionaire, she loves the Satanist Abramovich. There's an interview of hers, and she was saying, "Oh, I love her so much. She's such a creative soul. She's amazing." And we see here, this is old news, okay? This is from 2012. Lady Gaga accused of taking part in a bloody satanic ritual in London hotel. Lady Gaga has been accused of partaking in a satanic ritual after leaving a bathtub full of blood in a London hotel. The incident happened during the summer of last year at the Intercontinental Hotel in the capital. One of the hotel workers, poor guy, has now revealed their thoughts on the matter and has said that the singer was bathing in blood as part of a satanic ritual. So you see, my friends. Oh, see here the conclusion. The incident was reported to the concierge, who was told to put it out of her mind. So, just keep quiet. I wonder how much money changed hands during that night, so people would not say anything. But in 2012, this was a curiosity, probably a false story, probably conspiracy. But now, in 2016, we know exactly what it was all about. because she was doing exactly the same thing in the art exhibition, their spirit cooking thing with Marina Abramovic, because that's what they do. You know, when they're doing the exhibition, they have a mock sacrifice, they have a mock ritual, but in private, they have the real thing. I mean, if in public, in the eyes, in the open, in front of the eyes of everybody, they are able to do that, can you imagine what they do behind closed doors? That's the woman who closed Hillary Clinton's campaign, and she was dressed as a Nazi, if you paid attention. She had this Nazi uniform. Oh, yeah. That's the depravity. But you may say, well, we dodged the bullet. Now we have Trump there. But I'll tell you, my friends, pay attention. Pay attention, because there's a big trap being set up for you. Okay? And you need the wisdom that comes from God Himself through faith in Jesus Christ in order to escape it. Because there is a big deception coming that would fool even the elect if that were possible. All right? We're going to stop for a minute and we will be back.
This is Professor Lamsrath. I strongly suggest you read Eyes to See, Unseen Enemies by Paul and Linda Villanueva. This book examines and explains the problems with so many of today's churches and ministries. You will learn about the false spirits invading churches and the occult practices that have crept into the house of God. More importantly, you will get the tools needed to protect yourself and the ones you love. Eyes to See, Unseen Enemies is available at all online digital book retailers. Go to fifthhookmedia.com for further information. This is Professor Lamsrath, and I am making Eyes to See, Unseen Enemies required reading in all of my courses. So I'll see you in class.
Okay, we are back from the commercial break, and we have really exposed it to you, the depravity, the occultism, the Satanism of the elites, of the people that we have now ruling the world, actually. And but you see, my friends, what happens is that it seems that they are not really being able to advance their agenda the way that they thought they would, you know. And we have some things like the Brexit. We have the United Kingdom leaving Europe, the European Union, and this is big news. We have the Marxists being thrown out of the government here in Brazil, in Argentina, in the Philippines. In the Philippines, there is a big reaction against the Marxists and Obama and all those people, and now in the United States. So, but I'll tell you, you must pay attention, because, my friends, there is a message that is being spread throughout the internet. If you go to, conspiracy circles, if you go to the alternative media, if you go to what they call the alt-right, the alternative right, they're all talking about the same thing. They're following David Icke. They're saying, my friends, that the big, ugly Illuminati, they are being defeated. You know, the banksters, the global bankers, Illuminati, the Warburgs, the Rockefellers, they're being defeated. Oh, yes. They're so greedy. They attracted all the bad vibrations to them, and now they're being defeated. And I'll tell you, after Donald Trump's victory, this kind of speech will only increase. They will see they will say, well, look, see how now we are victorious. Because, we have Donald Trump. And they will try to tell you that what is changing the world is a change of consciousness. Because people are meditating. They're meditating in good things. And they're receiving energy vibrations from the center of the galaxy. That's what David Icke says. That's what Eckhart Tolle says. If you go, my friends, to some websites of people who are very popular now, they're saying that they're receiving information from Jesus Christ himself, from God himself, that through the power of mind, we're going to change the earth. And we're going to suppress the evil activities of the Illuminati. Even David Rothschild is saying the same thing. David Rothschild is that guy that is an ecologist, adventurer, very, very hipster Rothschild. But he is the grandchild of the old Rothschilds, my friends. They're in the same family. They're one and the same. But they're trying to convince you that they are an alternative, when in fact they're just an evolution. They're just one step ahead of the same Antichrist system. But now they're just trying to look nice. It's just like Justin Trudeau, all smiles, trendy, hipster, dancing with the transvestites. It's like Obama, very charismatic, likes hip-hop, likes basketball, That's the kind of people that they are trying to tell us that are going to save the world. As long as we meditate a lot. And of course, they say that Jesus Christ was just a messenger from the great white brotherhood. Very developed spiritual beings. They live like close to the center of the galaxy, or sometimes close to the sun. And they receive the vibrations from the cosmic bubble. Because for them, God is just a cosmic bubble with no personality, but lots of vibrations. And then that's what David Icke says. And David Icke, my friends, you know how he uses the Illuminati as a bait? Because he knows everything about the Illuminati. And 99% of the things that he says are true. He's always blaming the bankers. He's telling us that the elite promotes war. It's all true. But then he says that we're going to defeat them by doing meditation and occultism. And lots of people who start to wake up to the New World Order, they listen to Alex Jones, and they read Henry Macau's website, and they really wake up to the reality of the New World Order, and much more now, because they go to the WikiLeaks, and they see all the Satanism and pedophilia, and they will say, wow, there's a lot of evil. This Illuminati was a real thing after all. And then comes David Icke, and Eckhart Tolle, Oprah, Bono from the YouTube, the Pope, and they say, no, you're gonna beat all this greediness and all this evil if you become a gnostic. If you start to meditate, do spiritual contemplation, contemplative prayer, start to look for the presence of God inside of you. Do the rosary. So you see how it's all connected, and that's the big trap that they're bringing, especially to young people. Because old people, I think they have given up. I mean, they just don't understand. They just look to the world and say, well, it's all crazy. But the young people, now they know that the New World Order is a reality, and they're looking for answers in all the wrong places. And the answers are being provided. And it's unfortunate that, not many people listen to our message, because the real answer is Jesus Christ. And the Bible is all about judgment in the end times. There is forgiveness. There is protection from the wrath for people who are saved because they had put their trust and faith in the sacrifice of Jesus Christ at the cross for their sins. It's the only escape. So you, my friend, they are now open to the reality of the New World Order. You are seeing the WikiLeaks. You are seeing all this depravity. And you feel deep inside of you that this is a horrible thing. I mean, the answer is not meditation. It's not, just the power of mind in order to bring a new era of spiritual enlightenment. That's not gonna happen. You need Jesus Christ. You need a way out of here. Okay? Don't let them fool you. Don't let them fool you. We see here, Pope Francis proposes new beatitude. Remember, we had a couple of shows about the Beatitudes. But he says now, it's not only, blessed are the poor in spirit, blessed are those who suffer. No. Now we have to see God in every person. Okay? He proposed 6 new Beatitudes at the Mass, which took place at the conclusion of his ecumenical trip. Pope Francis highlighted the lives of the Swedish saints Elizabeth Hasselblad and Bridget of Vadstena. New situations require new energy, new commitment, he said, and then offered a new list of beatitudes for modern Christians. Okay? Forgiving others, caring about the earth, helping the poor and needy. I mean, come on. These things are already in the Bible. One of them was ecumenical in nature. Blessed are those who pray and work for full communion between Christians, meaning evangelicals and Catholics. And the second resonated with early comments Pope Francis has to make to indicate that this Pope is not only ecumenical, he's also interspiritual. All paths lead to God. And panentheistic. God is in all. I mean, God is inside the creation. He's not outside creation, okay? He says, blessed are those who see God in every person and strive to make others also discover him. Pope Francis. So you see, my friends, the arrogance, the pride of this man. He really thinks he can add a beatitude. I mean, it was Jesus Christ himself that gave us the Beatitudes. But they think they're incomplete. He is smarter than Jesus Christ. This Marxist Jesuit guy who worked with the dictatorship in Argentina. He thinks he's smarter than Jesus Christ. But you see how he is subtle? Because he says, blessed are those who see God in every person and strive to make others also discover him inside the person. But God is not in every person. This is panentheism. This is the namaste. Namaste, when Hindu people, they greet each other. It's my spirit greets the spirit in you. The God in me greets the God in you. That's basically the namaste. We're all made in the image of God because God created all man. But there's a difference between being a creation of God and being a child of God. You need to accept and receive Jesus Christ in order to be a real child of God and to have the Holy Spirit living in you. And even the Holy Spirit living in you, it doesn't mean that He is the one and the same with you. He's still the Holy Spirit and you're still you. But what He says here is that God is everybody. Everybody's God. So how can you go to hell if you're a God? Why do you need salvation if you're a God? If you're just a little bit piece of God. You know, it's just like Kabbalah says, that there's this little sparkle of divinity inside everybody, especially inside the Jews, of course. So you see, my friends, that's the objective of this show today. Do not fall for those lies. Do not think that now, because you know that the Hillary Clinton's people, they're all Satanists, now we can get rid of the Illuminati and, we're going to have this new age of peace and prosperity. Because the Bible says when they say peace and prosperity, that's when judgment comes. The Bible also says that the good people, will become even better. And the bad people, the evil people, will do more evil. We are seeing the separation between goats at the left and sheep at the right. And this is only going to increase. But they're going to sell this lie more and more, my friends. And I'll tell you, I am concerned, for the future. In America, I can tell you, you're going to see a lots of backlash against Trump, just like they're doing here in Brazil. After our Marxist corrupt president was impeached, the left, the Marxists, invaded more than 1,000 high schools here in Brazil. They're just using violence and drugs, and they're going to do that in America. Black Lives Matter, La Raza, all those guys, they're going to set America on fire. They're going to be much more radicals than before because they're going to be united against Trump. They're going to hate Trump so much that they're going to start to work together and be bolder than before. So I pray that God protects you. And I pray that God really leads Trump and the conservatives there in this fight, because they're going to be, they really have to be decisive and strong. Otherwise, the Marxists will set the country on fire. And another thing that really concerns me, and this is my opinion, okay? Cannot say this is biblical, but it's not unbiblical also, neither. I think the elite is really receiving a blow with the Brexit thing and with Trump. And I don't think that was expected. I really don't. Because they are not God. They are not in total control. They have control over lots of things. Okay, so they may try to bring down the dollar, and they may resort to war because they're out of cards. They cannot deal any more cards in this game. So, it's not difficult to imagine that they may just start a war in order to create chaos and in order to make people ask for a global leader. But if that happens, my friends, be glad, because the time of your redemption is near. Look up to the heavens, because Jesus Christ is coming. Don't despair. It's time to try to reach and save a few from the fire. Pluck them out of the fire and live your life in a godly way, because there's not much time left. Just one day at a time. Try to help people around you, because the Bible says that if you know you can do some good and you don't, this is sin. And it's all around us, opportunities for doing good, for being good to people. Okay, I think it's James 4:17. Yeah. If anyone then knows the good they ought to do and doesn't do it, it's sin for them. Okay, it's time to really, work in the retail, not wholesale. Just grab the opportunities that God will put in front of you and try to stay holy. All right? And most of all, don't believe in the lies and don't believe in the fables. Nothing changed. Okay? The future is described in the Bible. The Antichrist will come. Global government will come. Wars will come. People are going to be afraid and they will run for the Antichrist. They're going to love him. He's going to be a savior. Probably he's going to give much money to people. I believe that people will be very excited. See this guy. He's solving all the problems. Goldman Sachs declared bankruptcy. They took $100 billion from Goldman Sachs and distributed it to the poor. The Rothschilds, they had to give $500 billion to the poor in Africa. Isn't that amazing? First time in history that the bankers have been defeated. They're willing to sacrifice some of the rings in order to preserve the fingers, to keep the fingers. Just a little sacrifice in order to convince you that they're doing the right thing, that they're acting on your best interest. If you only meditate a little bit, open yourself to your spirit guide. Realize that God is within you. Realize that you're a little God. Oh, people are going to love that. But you won't, because you know better. Right? I pray that God gives you much wisdom to see what's happening in the world, and especially to understand how you should live your life, holding the hand of Jesus Christ. Because, read the Psalm 23. We may be walking in the valley of the shadow of death, but we will not fear, because he is with us. Keep that in mind. Thank you so much for your attention. Thank you so much for listening to us. I hope to see you once again next week. God bless. Bye.